In this lesson, we're going to look at how to work out the coordinates of the main parts of a parabola. That's the roots, i.e. where it cuts the x-axis, where it cuts the y-axis, and the turning point. So in this first example, we can see here that it says make a quick sketch of the parabola. In order to do that, you need to work out the different points. This can appear in a lot of exam questions. It may not ask you to sketch the parabola, but it will ask you to work out the points. So the first parts we're going to look at here are the roots. That's this yellow dot here and this yellow dot here, where the parabola cuts the x-axis. Now there's a few ways to work these out. The first way is to factorise this part of the equation. If we can factorise this part of the equation and let it equal 0, since the y value of these coordinates is 0, then solve that equation, we can work out the roots. The second way would be to use the quadratic formula, but that should be obvious and it will be in a calculator paper and it will say around your roots to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places. So in this case we're going to factorise. So before that we'll let it equal 0 because the y value of these coordinates are 0. Now to factorise this is a trinomial, it goes into double brackets. So it will be x and an x and a 5 and a 1 and a 0. Basically, look at what things multiply to make the 5. Now we can have plus 5 and minus 1 or minus 5 and plus 1. The plus 5 and minus 1 will give you a plus 4 in the middle, but the minus 5 and the plus 1 will give you a minus 4 in the middle when you multiply it all out. So either that first bracket has to equal 0, in which case x would be 5, or the second bracket has to equal 0, in which case x would be minus 1. And that's your roots. So if you're asked for the coordinates, you would say minus 1, 0, which would be here, or 5, 0. Make sure you get that the right way round and not say 0, negative 1 and 0, 5. You'd lose marks for that. Okay, so that's how to work out the roots. To work out the turning point, to get the x value, you can see it's exactly in the middle. So the middle of negative 1 and 5, well, the difference between the two is 6. So if you come in 3 from each side, you'll get that value. So it's going to be 2 something. So the value of x is halfway between the roots. 5 add negative 1 divided by 2 is equal to 2. You can do it that way, or you can say take away 3 or add 3. Now, we have got an x value of 2 here. The equation says to work out y, this is what this really means, to work out y, you take x, you square it, you take away 4 times x, and then you take away 5. Now we've just worked out that x is 2, so if we put 2 in these places here, substitute it in, we can work out what the y value of this turning point is here. So y equals 2 squared, take away 4 times 2, take away 5. Again, that's putting the 2 up here. 2 squared, take away 4 times 2, take away 5. And that comes out at negative 9. So minimum turning point at 2, negative 9. The same techniques used to work out the y-intercept in the final step here. This time we know that the y value is 0. The x value is 0. So we substitute the x value of 0 in to work out what the y value is. By doing the same thing, 0 squared, take away 4 times 0, take away 5. So if we look at that down here, 0 squared, take away 4 times 0, take away 5 is equal to negative 5. So the y-intercept is 0, minus 5. On the graph, 2 minus 9 and 0 minus 5.